Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Today is Friday, October 25th, and we're coming off an impressive 41-13 Pitt win last night over Syracuse at Acrisure Stadium. I'll talk a little bit about that. Have a high school story I want to reference and pitch. Mike White did a tremendous job yet again. Penguins also made a weird move with Tristan Jarry, and it's Friday, so we have some questions and answers, two interesting ones I want to hit on. But first, I want to remind you that we're brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped injury victims answer that question. Whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with insurance companies, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. So that was a game last night. My biggest takeaway is what I wrote in my column that we went into this season thinking 6 or 7 wins would be great for Pitt, a huge turnaround from 3-9. Let's start talking and thinking about so much more, right? It's ranked unranked next week with SMU. Ironically, the last time Pitt played a ranked team as a ranked team, 2021 ACC championship game. But my mind was racing, sort of like Pitt linebackers off Kyle McCord interceptions last night, to be honest with you. Like, what's the rest of this season look like? Virginia, Clemson, Boston College, Louisville. Off the top of my head, I don't know if that's the exact order, but you've still got some pretty big games. And then what? ACC championship? Is that crazy? No. College football playoff at this point, it's looking possible. If you continue down that road as an ACC team, it's at least reasonable, right? Pitt, Penn State. I know that's the cream of the crop crazy, but it's fun. Right? They have disproven so many expectations of themselves. They should be extremely proud. Last night's game was just fascinating. Maybe this is my background as a baseball guy, but I just love the wonky numbers. I love sifting through it all. 5 interceptions, 3 pick sixes, 4 sacks, 6 rushing yards allowed. My favorite stat, more points than yards at one point. I tweeted something out a little bit earlier on the superlatives behind this game, and it was just crazy. A time of possession, I didn't include this in there, 41-12 to 18-48. Plays, 93-44. Pitt didn't really do anything offensively. I feel like Pat Narduzzi said it best when he said their best, let me get this right, their best offense was their defense. And it's true. They scored so much, and it was just trying to quantify this up in the press box. That's where this stuff sort of happens. It was just a running joke about, but that never happened. Yeah, good luck looking that up. Yep, going to have to figure that one out. It was just wild. It's the first time an FBS team has returned 3 interceptions for touchdowns since USC on September 3rd, 2022 against Rice, and just the 6th time since 2000. That's one of a bunch of stats. Just check them out on my Twitter timeline. I don't want to bore you with it here. But just some really crazy stuff. Actual takeaways, though, Pitt's linebackers are a fascinating group. They talked a lot after this one about being the Sharks. And as we know, any position group or part of a team with a nickname, that makes you that much better. I say that in fun. I'm certainly not making fun. I love it. It's hilarious. There were actually inflatable sharks at Acrisure Stadium last night. But this group, and this is something a lot of the guys talked about afterward, they felt too much attention was being paid to Kyle McCord, not enough to Eli Holstein. And they took that personally. Michael Jordan gif right there. But just a defense that's able to do what the Panthers have done the past 2 weeks, added to what the offense has done for, let's say 5 games. Special teams has been outstanding. Pitt has the best kicker in the country. Ben Saul's just so quietly kicks a 57-yard field goal and has done a whole bunch of other things that I probably shouldn't talk about in specifics, being a relatively superstitious human being. They're in a really good place. They're in a really good place, and it makes my mind go to other places to what the ceiling is. I don't think any of us know, but I, along with probably you and others, are eager to find out. All right, going to take a short break, have a couple quicker hit things I want to discuss on the other side. But first, a message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
And welcome back to First 10. I'm your host, Jason Mackey. We're here middle of the morning, Monday through Friday, about 10 minutes, bouncing around and talking all different things, which, well, that's what we're going to do in the second half of the show today. The Penguins sent Tristan Jarry home from Western Canada, insisting this is a planned thing. He's getting individual work with Director of Goaltending John Elkin. Interesting move. Oftentimes you hear Mike Sullivan and other coaches in all sports really talk about the benefit of a player being with teammates. Maybe they didn't want Jarry to press. Obviously has a history in Edmonton, from Vancouver, that sort of thing. And I agree with not playing him in either game. Those are two really good teams, and the possibility of him getting lit up like a pinball machine, I don't like it. But they're really digging their heels into Tristan Jarry's struggles, which honestly they should do. I'm not disagreeing with that, but it is further ramping up the importance on when Jarry does come back, because he will play again, and what happens to that. And I don't know what you do. Right now he's 1-1 with an .836 save percentage. The numbers are just beyond abysmal. The contract situation, not good. Signed until 2028, 5.4 cap hit. You need to get something out of him. Do you send him to the minors? I don't know. Kyle Dubas on his I think it's a bi-weekly TV show, kind of poo-pooed that idea and basically said they need to work with him and try to get the best out of him. And again, he's not wrong, but that's easier said than done. Don't know what the Penguins necessarily do, but two tough ones with the Oilers and the Canucks to wrap up their Western Canadian road trip. Want to highlight or direct you to a story Mike White did on Byron Lewis. He's a 6'4", 280-pound senior at Westinghouse. He's their only two-way starter, but the trick here is that he's autistic. And Mike talked about his background with football. He only started basically playing as a high school freshman. You don't see a lot of autistic kids playing football. Obviously, this is one that hits home for me. Ryder, our oldest son, is autistic and also happens to like football a lot. So it kind of resonated in our house. I won't take your time regurgitating Mike's story to you, at least in this case, but it's just a really cool story about an awesome kid at Westinghouse. They play in the City League Championship on Saturday. Make sure you take some time to check that out. Another one I want to pitch to is just my Pirates sale story. No, I don't think Bob Nutting is selling. Maybe some people would argue that this is wasted ink, but still I'm fascinated by the world of MLB sales and why it's picked up. You've had 5 teams for sale in the past 7 years. The Nationals and Angels have also explored sales. Obviously, everybody around here right now is screaming for Bob Nutting to sell. And I've talked about it on this podcast before. It sort of fascinates me why Bob Nutting doesn't sell. He can make so much money. So I called around to some sports economists that I've dealt with in the past about, what are the factors right now influencing sales? Why would people want to stay? And I tried to outline that. I was happy with how it came out. It's not levying a harsh opinion, although I did say before that if Bob didn't make the necessary changes to fix the Pirates right now, he should just sell. And I don't feel any differently about that column from when I wrote it. It's just kind of a different take on the idea of selling and a little bit more of a businessy perspective. So do check that out. Have 2 questions I want to finish up with. Robert Sir asked a really good one. Thoughts on an absolutely wild fantasy wish, Pirates 2025 hitting coach Barry Bonds? Yes, sure. I don't know if anybody's ever watched this. The MLB, well, yeah, I'm sure I said that like it's some hidden gem. It was on MLB Network, but the Greg Maddux documentary, it's an awesome watch. Can't recommend that enough, but there's a scene in there of Barry Bonds talking about the cat and mouse game that he played with Greg Maddux. I mean, obviously Barry Bonds is an incredibly smart hitter. I don't think this will ever happen, obviously, but in a hypothetical world, yeah, I mean, Barry Bonds knows hitting. I think it would be fascinating. I don't think he's the least bit of a fit with the Pirates and their current front office and the way they want to do things. But do I think Barry Bonds could lend some insight to the Pirates? Do I think that would be fun as heck to cover? Do I think that, he could help hitters get better? Yes, I absolutely do. And I'm all for it, although it's never going to happen. Probably a lot like Bob Nutting selling the team. Anyway, Henry Davis at Henry Davis MVP, which I'm guessing this is not Henry's actual account. Are the Pirates stuck to develop Henry Davis? Yes, they are. For now, let's put it that way. What else would you do? Do you trade him? And maybe there's an unclear path to playing time, but at the same time, I don't think that's a problem. He's a guy they took 1-1. Like, yeah, they're going to try to develop him. They're going to try to get something out of him. They're going to try to find a position for him to play. Now, those paths are unclear at the moment. And if I'm an opposing team, I could easily look at the Pirates, look at Henry Davis's situation, look at his potential, look at things that scouts chart, power, arm, that sort of stuff. Henry Davis can thrive. I do think there's a baseball player in there. I think there's a very good baseball player in there. Now, the Pirates have not realized that. Thus far, they've stuck with it and have insisted that they want to develop Henry Davis for their own. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I'd like to see what he looks like with a different hitting group. He falls in the same category for me as Jack Sawinski. Like, I don't think we've seen, with Jack, we did a little bit 2 years ago, hitting 23 or 26 home runs, in 2023. But I don't think we've seen the best out of him. Henry specifically, he's gotten a lot better at the catching aspect. That position, it's unclear with Joey Bart, Andy Rodriguez, what they're going to do. And I'm sure if another team came along and made them a really good offer, they'd take it. But another team probably is also going to try to buy low on Henry Davis, given the position sort of crunch that the Pirates are going under. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the Henry Davis situation. Thanks so much for watching this. Went a little bit over time. That's all right. I'm sure you won't complain. Make sure you like and subscribe and get a whole bunch of stuff here and at the rest of our Post-Gazette North Shore Drive podcast and YouTube channels. Hope you all have a great weekend. We'll be back here same time, same place on Monday morning. Thanks for watching First 10.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.